All right. Well, hey, family. Welcome back to the Power of Yes podcast. We are kicking off the year strong. Here's where we have these real conversations about courage, clarity, and choosing yourself even when the path isn't clear. And today's episode is for women who are standing in the middle of uncertainty. Maybe you've experienced job loss, professional burnout, or that deep internal nudge telling you that it's time for something different. But fear keeps asking you, what if I fail? My guest today understands that moment deeply. She spent nearly 3 decades navigating a corporate world where, as a Latina, she often had to shrink, code switch, and silent parts of herself in order to survive. And then in 2008, during a major economic recession, she lost her job. What could have been the end became the beginning. I am honored to welcome Sami Heyman Marrero, the founder and CEO of Urbander, an award-winning podcaster and the author of a powerful memoir, Becoming La Hit. Sami, I want to welcome you to the Power of Yes. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here with us. I'm so glad you're here.
And I'm so honored that you invited me, Servola. This is going to be so much fun.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm trying to pull my energy together so that I don't rush us ahead of time because we've had the honor of knowing each other for a number of years now and just have become, we call each other sisters from another mother because we truly have synced up in so many different ways. When you kicked off this book, so for our viewers and listeners, if you haven't gotten your copy of Sami's book, we're going to talk a little bit into the book today. She describes so much of her story, and I'm sure that many of you can relate to her story and some of the things that she's experienced, especially as women in the corporate environment. Now, Sami, I want to get straight into it. You describe the corporate publishing industry as heavy male and white male dominated, a space where you often felt that you had to speak white male in order to be heard. So I want you to take us back to 2008, where you lost your job during the recession. And how did that moment become the ultimate act of reclaiming your identity and saying yes to building something of your own?
Thank you for this, Servola. Because, so this is going to be like a rant session, right? Or a venting session at this point. Because now it's like in the business memoir, I let it all out.
Right.
And in 2008, I had already been working in the publishing industry in New York City for close to 12 years. And you're absolutely right. Coming from Puerto Rico 12 years prior and walking into these spaces, I thought I was hot stuff, right? I was bilingual. I had a master's degree. I'm, Latina, young, I was real cute. And so I thought I'm going to take on the world, go to the media capital of the world, New York City, and do my thing. And then all of a sudden, it wasn't what I had envisioned because there was a sea of white men and even Latino white presenting men, right? That were, I mentioned in the book that they were like Latino incognitos, really, right?
Yes.
Running these major agencies or media outlets that were Latino specific, yet with that mindset, that colonized mindset of competition, of dog eat dog, of the bottom line, profits over people, all of this stuff. And to me, it was very clear that I needed to learn and adjust to make it happen for me. And that's what it was. And so I learned the ropes. I call it speaking white male because I learned very quickly, and also through mentorships, people that didn't look like me, to be precise, concise, attach my value and what I bring to money, so either savings or sales. And that's all it is. Really not that complicated to work in these spaces once you figure out what that magic formula is, which is green. It's all money. It's all driven by money.
Yeah.
And so it took me a minute to fall in line and understand how I could advance in my career. And I did. And I reached the pinnacle in the publishing industry, which was to be the publisher of a national Spanish language magazine. And then in 2008, I lost my job, and that was crosswords. And that word that you use is so real because it never gets old when your life, it's uncertainty. Right. You just never know. You could have it all together. You could have the house with the white picket fence, the 2-car garage, 2 kids, dog, the amazing partner in seconds.
Yes.
Everything can just go away, or your sense of stability can be shaken to the core, and then you're left with now what?
Yes. You know, I've read in your book, there were some areas where you talked about that, and you kind of described that as chaos and saying yes to the chaos. So I want you to go a little bit deeper into that and share with us, what did that chaos look like for you then, emotionally, financially, personally, kind of level setting? Because I think a lot of times when people hear our stories, they think it's perfect, right? They think, and I love how transparent your book is, because it's like, listen, this was not perfect. It was not pretty. There were some ugly moments. Did you see that? There were some moments where you wanted to just I'd almost kind of classify it as that Jennifer Lopez moment in the movie. I think it's like a monster mother-in-law or something like that. Working her head. She's body slamming her and just taking her out. And then in reality, she's like, oh, okay. So take us back to that moment. Tell us about the chaos.
It was so taxing. Writing the book and going back to that moment made me realize that I have serious PTSD.
Wow.
And the big PTSD that I have is being broke. Because as you could see from the book, it's it was very daunting and taxing mentally. To know that you go from making a very healthy 6-figure income with a future, a bright, quote unquote, bright future ahead in your career in publishing, to all of a sudden have the rug pulled from under your feet, and you're left with no health insurance. We had to pay Cobra just to keep health insurance. My son was 9 months old, drank formula. Formula is super expensive.
For someone who just experienced job loss or business failure, what's the very first concrete step that you would say to them that they can take to move from panic into clarity?
What I would say is you need to pause and identify those things that you can control. That's it. So what can you control? You can control your expenses. So that's what we did. We sat down and in a very methodical way said, what do we really need? Who are you as a human being? What are your values? What are your strengths? You're not starting from zero.
I think a lot of people, when they're in that type of a space, they want to be at 100%. They want everything to be perfect. You talked about you don't have to be 100%.
I'll tell you, the first client that I gained that wasn't someone that I knew. I went to a lunch and learn, maybe 3 miles from my house, because gas was through the roof. And I'm like, I can't spend so much money on gas. And I went to a local chamber, paid the fee to become a member, and I went to the first lunch and learn. And as we're there, they asked us, new members, during the lunch break to say our elevator speech. I was like, what's that? But I'd been in sales for 12 years, right? And marketing. So I stayed quiet so I could observe and learn. But I said yes to this opportunity. No idea what the hell I was doing. So I observed, and when I saw what it was, I'm like, 30 seconds, you just So fine. So I got up and I said, hi, my name is Sami Heyman Marrero. I'm the CEO of Urbander. I'm like, that felt like a lot, right? I'm like, oh my God. Talk about
Sit down.
girl. So anyway, so I was like, I'm the CEO of Urbander and I specialize in the Hispanic segment. So if you're looking to tap into this burgeoning segment of our market, I'm the person you need to talk to. Bam, done, sat down. All of a sudden, this woman, who's a dear friend now, Becky Neiman, she was the marketing director of a local hospital. And she comes over and sits next to me and she says, you and I need to talk. And I said, oh, okay, great. She's like, I just finished doing a community assessment of the patients that are coming through our emergency room. And 40% of the patients are Latino. And I have no idea what to do with that. Could you help? Absolutely. Absolutely. So everybody that I work with knows that when I say absolutely, I probably don't know what the hell I'm doing. Basically a big yes, because I felt I could figure it out. She doesn't understand the Hispanic market. I for sure understand the Hispanic market. And so the in-between, not all the charts are there. I've never worked with healthcare, but I'm a good study. Just tell me what you need. I'm a strategist. I'm going to figure this out. In my heart, my gut tells me that we have enough of the skills. We have the capability, we have the drive and the intelligence.
There you go.
To figure this out.
I took that lesson to heart and I used it to strengthen my resolve. If I was going to create a change for my community, I needed to be both strategic and resilient. It wasn't enough just to be passionate and dedicated. I had to be smart, discerning, unwavering in my commitment to doing what's right, even when it meant confronting people I originally thought that I can trust. It was a bitter lesson, but one I'm grateful for. It prepared me for the challenges ahead and deepened my understanding of what it means to be a leader in my community. It's not just about showing up. It's about making sure your presence counts no matter who tries to hijack your mission along the way and categorize you as a bitch in the process. Tell us about that story.
Yes, and this was a two-year experience. First, it was when Pulse happened.
Yes.
Here in Orlando, that horrible tragedy.
Yes.
That impacted the entire world, really.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also the very following year, we had Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico that caused a lot of people to be displaced from the island and to come to Central Florida. I was very involved. I was very focused on collaborating because it's the only way you can amplify the impact is by leaning into different aspects of the work that other organizations are doing, other leaders are doing. And I had found also a nonprofit to try to work on that, on strengthening this mindset of collaboration. And so was working with different leaders in the community. And then all of a sudden just realized that either they were behind the scenes trying to minimize the impact of our work, that there was some sort of a sense of competition between the local chamber with the work that the grassroots leaders, what we were trying to do. And it shocked me because I thought we had a good relationship. And so what happened was that someone calls me, because that's the thing. When you do the right thing and you build real, genuine, and intentional relationships with people that they understand that you always come from a place of caring for the community, they got your back.
Right.
And so it happens, and I know that you see it throughout the book, that, and for some reason, it always happens on a Sunday afternoon when I'm minding my business. When I'm just chilling.
Sunday afternoon.
Exactly. It's Sunday afternoon, I get a call, and then someone called me to tell me that the president of the chamber at that time, with who I thought we were cordial, that we were fine, was talking smack about me, wanted to put a cease and desist to the efforts that we were doing from a grassroots point of view to support the families impacted by Pulse, because our grassroots efforts were, and it wasn't just me, it was me and some other leaders, right? That we were all women. And so we were creating this wraparound program with the support of another nonprofit. And so, but the local chamber, Latino chamber, wanted to basically do social services when they're a chamber, right? And they wanted to be a liaison with the local government. So when I got this call, what did I do? I didn't, no, I called the person. I called the woman, right? And I told her, hey, I just got this call. And she's like, yes, what's going on? And I'm like, that's why I'm calling you. I don't know what's going on. But so it's having those, what Shalanda calls, right? My friend, Shalanda, icky, sticky conversation. So we met and we hashed it out. But the damage was already done. Yeah. Because it was this sense of competition. I tried to tell her, I'm working with the grassroots community. It's important to do, but it's just as powerful to say yes to saying no. And setting boundaries. And that was the lesson. The lesson was take a step back. You need to sharpen your discernment, because not everybody that appears to be kind and have goodwill, and I always fall for that. I still do. But I don't let the experience that it leaves you with such a nasty feeling affect my possible relationship with someone new that comes along. That new person then, right, has like a 4 to 6 month. Where it's like, okay, we're trying to feel, we're vetting the vibe, we're vetting the vibe and making sure, because it's like dating, it takes a minute. The first 4 to 6 months are awesome. And then that's when people start letting their guard down. So it's important to just know, and you just learn through growing pains, how to discern better, because new relationships are also uncertain. Yes. So you need to step into those and say yes to them, but also pause and see what's right in front of you, and then move forward based on how you feel.
I love that. I think that a lot of times we feel as human beings that we can't establish boundaries. And that is one of the most powerful things that we can do in any relationship that we have. I think it was author Henry Cloud that has this whole book on boundaries and the power of establishing those boundaries, even when it comes down to strategic partnerships. Having those clear-cut boundaries help to ensure that it's mutually beneficial, that you don't get taken advantage of, and that you really set yourself up for really success, so you're not disappointed in the end. And all of these are life lessons. And I think a lot of times when we are going through these life lessons, we can either take the road of, hey, I'm never going to do this again, or we can take the road of, yeah, I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to set some boundaries. I'm going to set some guardrails up so that I don't make the same mistakes twice. I'm going to learn from that. And I love this growth mindset that you're leaning into with all of these experiences, and you see it throughout the entire book. Your book, Becoming La Jefa, explores identity, leadership, business in such a raw and honest way. And I want to know, what is the single most important message that you want leaders to understand about the difference between waiting for permission to lead and choosing to build your own legacy?
That you have the capacity to do it. The thing is that we're told to doubt ourselves, and even when we're little, it's like, be careful. They're starting to walk. It starts with something as simple as that. We're always moving with caution, with some too much caution. And I encourage people to perhaps consider being less risk adverse. I think that throughout my journey, what I've learned, and this whole exercise of writing the book was a real moment of self-reflection. where I suddenly realized, wait a second, as time goes by, each most uncertain time, I become less afraid of the what if, or what's going on, or the chaos, or not knowing what the outcome is going to be of whatever decision I make. And so when the pandemic, everyone was uncertain, like a recession was coming. Step into uncertainty with a plan based on the resources that you have in front of you right now and the things that you can control. So you feel as confident as possible that the outcome is going to be the best it can be given your current circumstances. Because once you step into that and you look back and say, we got through that. And look, we're unscathed. Surround yourself by people that know more than you or have the skill sets that you don't have. Practice peer-to-peer mentorship is the people you surround yourself with. And so the more you do that, the more confident you are, and then you become fearless.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your voice. Your story is a reminder that uncertainty doesn't mean that we're unprepared. It means that we are invited to grow. And so I'm excited about our time together today and just really kicking this off. If this conversation spoke to you today, family, I encourage you to check out Sami's book, Becoming Life, and learn more about her work at becominglajefa.com. That link is going to be in our show notes. And if you're standing at the edge of a yes and you're unsure of what's coming next, remember this, that clarity follows courage. Clarity follows courage.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Servola. I mean, this was so much fun, and we need to schedule our little brunch.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Sami. Appreciate
Thank you so much. I love you so much.
Love you too. All right, everybody. Until next time, family, say yes to who you are. Yes to your voice. Yes to the future that you're capable of building. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Power of Yes.